everybody. I'm Blythe Fitzharris. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer at Mercy Care, and I'm always excited to be able to that we can host this conference and super excited to be able to close us out. So thank you everyone for joining and participating in the Mercy Care Annual Connections Conference. I do have to say I'm feeling very calm from that music that you were playing. I'm excited, but I was like, oh, that's what I need more of in my life on a Friday afternoon. So before I really want to do a thank you to our OIFA team, Adult System of Care team and marketing team who helps makes this conference possible every year. So if it wasn't for them, the months of planning and coordination to really think about what we want to get in front of people, getting the boxes. Kimberly, I saw that the folks at Cheers so excited you're joining that you got all of your welcome boxes. So really want to do a shout out and thank them for the work that they put into happening for this conference every year. It's always pretty remarkable how long we've been able to put this conference on and how every year it gets better. I want to just say it's been an amazing week of discussions around empowerment, wellness, and how to lean into what matters to me and live a life of meaning. I know I put my personal medicine cards to work a couple times this week. And today, this session, Art and Health and the Zen of Drawing workshop, is a perfect way to close out a really recovery-centered, wellness-centered conference. And so I'm super excited for folks to be participating in this session and for this to kind of end a week of thought and wellness. And so with that, I want to introduce our presenters for this session. And hopefully I'm presenting everybody's name right. So is it Christelle Nielsen? Did I say that right? Okay, got a thumbs up. So founded Your Art and Story in 2018. She holds a bachelor's degree in anthropology from UCLA and a master's degree in legal studies from ASU. She has experience working with nonprofit and government agencies, including the Westside Women's Health Center, the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, and the Arizona Office of the Auditor General. So super cool. She's currently an adjunct professional at the Bryan University and attends nursing school. So thank you, Christelle, for joining us today. And with her is Tess Moscow Sharir, has a diverse art career spanning more than 30 years, beginning as a gallerist and then award-winning artist. Her art combines her study of the human psyche and her interest in book structures. She explores the imbalance between the complex machinations. I'm doing a bang up job here. Maybe I need some more music of our inner world and the outer world in which we are seen. She's the executive director of the Arizona Art Alliance, active in the Arizona art community, and has a private coaching practice that facilitates the World Academy for Future of Women. She exhibits nationally, is represented by the Van Gogh's Ear Gallery. Prescott was named one of the 100 creatives you need to know by the Phoenix New Times in 2016, and she's a grant recipient of the City of Phoenix, the Arizona Commission of the Arts, and the National Empowerment for Arts. So thank you everybody for joining our session. Thank you, Tess and Kristen, for facilitating that. And with that, welcome, enjoy the end of an amazing week, and enjoy the art of Zen. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Blythe, for that wonderful introduction. Tess and I are here in Phoenix today. We're so happy to spend part of Friday with you working on a really fun art project. Before we get started, I'd just like to share the PowerPoint that we have. Our topic today is Art and Health, a Zen Drawing Workshop. So our agenda today, we're going to start off by exploring the mental health benefits of art making. We're going to introduce you to Your Art, Your Story and the Arizona Artists Guild outreach programs. We'll also introduce you to Arizona Art Alliance, and then we're going to do an experiential art project that is Zen Drawing. So let's get started. We're going to start off with a poll. How are you feeling right now? On a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst and 5 being the best, how are you feeling? And I think Cammie's going to post something for everyone.
We have 3% at 1, 18% at 2, 32% at 3, 35% at 4, and 12% at 5.
Thank you so much. So what we're going to do at the end of this program is we're going to do the same poll and see if there's any difference in the way that we're all feeling. We have a Zen Drawing supply list, so this would be a good time to make sure that you have your supplies available for you. You will need paper, felt tip pens.
Regular pens.
Yeah, or regular ballpoint or gel pens.
The pen that you got in your kit is perfect.
Colored pencils, crayons, alcohol ink, or colored pencils, anything to add color to your drawing. And so while you gather your supplies, I am going to share some information with you about current research that is looking at the connection between art and health. So there is a growing recognition of the intersection between art and health. Art in many forms is being used to benefit people in healthcare settings and then also at home. So some of the interesting research that I have found is this study that was done at Drexel University. They found that at any skill level, making art reduces stress hormones. And what they did is at the beginning of a 45-minute art making session, they did a cortisol test, swab in the cheek at the beginning, and then again at the end. And they found after 45 minutes, people had less stress hormones in their saliva. And this was an important study because it was not about art therapy. It was about just drawing on your own or playing with clay. And it didn't matter whether you were a skilled artist or not. They found that these results affected everyone at all different skill levels. In 2019, the World Health Organization put out a report looking at 3,000 different studies. Something like this is called a systemic review. They looked at all of these studies about art, different types of art, and health. And what they found was that arts can benefit in the prevention of ill health, in the management and the treatment for people experiencing mental illness, trauma, and abuse. And some of these studies looked at art and music therapy, but some of them also looked at non-therapeutic interventions. And I'd just like to tell you about a couple. One study found that artwork on hospital walls reduced patient anxiety. Another found listening to music during pregnancy could reduce the chance of developing postpartum depression. And another found that art activities for families following bereavement helped coping and loss, reduced sadness, and increased support networks. So why does all this matter? Well, I think it's important that this research is suggesting there's changes in the brain chemistry when we do art. It affects our neurotransmitters. It affects our hormone levels. It reduces inflammation. And as a result, making art can really impact your mental health, reduce stress, and improve overall well-being. So the drawing that you see here on the right was made by Kurt von Behrman. And he drew this while he was going through a mental health crisis. He described this as the way his neurons in his brains were firing when he was in a state of distress. Healing art programs that are in healthcare settings are a positive distraction. They can reduce anxiety and stress in the healthcare setting, but it can also help people who are at home. It can be a form of self-care. And anything from listening to music to drawing how you feel, like Kurt has done here, and journaling, all of these can be part of a healing journey. And I like to think of it as it's like stopping at a rest stop on a long trip. It's just a chance to breathe and relax and focus on something else. So this area of study is actually starting to take off in another way. Johns Hopkins University has partnered with Aspen, and they are looking at creating more of a systemic way of looking at art and health, creating models for research, a common language. And this type of research is going to be continued by John Hopkins, excuse me. And one of the things that you can find on the internet is called the Neuro Arts Blueprint, Advancing Science, Arts, Health, and Wellness. And anyone who's interested in this topic, I encourage you to check this out. It's a very interesting new field of study. So now I would like to introduce you to Your Art, Your Story, which is an organization that I founded in 2017. And I'd also like to share some of the creative expression programs that Tess and I are involved in. We've been working together for the past 5 years. And through Your Art, Your Story, we have been supporting people who have lost loved ones to suicide. We have been supporting people who have attempted suicide and people who struggle. And we also support people who work in the field, counselors, first responders, and their friends and their family. So this slide shows some of the different things that we do. We go to community walks. We have free art workshops. We have exhibitions. And we've been partnering with the Arizona Artists Guild, and our in-person programs are at their art studio in North Phoenix. And we have programs every month. We have one tomorrow, and you are invited to attend. We'll share information with you if you'd like to sign up for an in-person or a Zoom workshop that we're having tomorrow. It will be, I believe, drawing. Yeah, it'll be a drawing workshop.
Yeah. Drawing birds.
Drawing
birds and
birds.
animals. Yeah.
Okay. So, and we also provide free art materials. We don't want anything to keep you from participating if you're interested in participating in one of our programs. So now I would like to pass it over to Tess, and she is going to tell you about herself and the Arizona Art Alliance.
Thanks. Thanks. So I'm being mindful right now of time, so I'm just going to go really quick and just say that what I love about what I do is that I get to share this gift of art with others. And so often we forget about that part of ourselves, that we're all artists and that we were born artists, and somewhere along the way, someone told us that we're not an artist or we're not good enough. And my role is to be able to bring that gift of art back to people who in an informal setting, so you don't have to take a college course on art making, that kind of thing. And I love that I get to do that, and I've done that in different parts of the world. In 2020, along with my partner David and two of our colleagues, we received a grant funding from the National Endowment for the Arts to do a 2-year research on the benefits of what's called a leisure arts program. And we have found exactly what Christelle has just talked about. And so it's really exciting to have that validation of art making on us. And so today's program, this Zen Drawing, is designed to get us into a state of what we call flow, and to do it very quickly. And so this process was discovered by Pavel Piskarev, who's a Russian psychologist and creativity entrepreneur. And he has actually patented the process under what's called neurographica, neuro meaning brain and graphic meaning image. And so again, it's just to reinforce that there's science behind this. I recently discovered this process, and quite honestly, I can't stop. Every day I get up and I'm making a neurographic drawing, or Zen drawing as I like to call it. And I have gone from this state of being really stressed out to feeling really calm. And I hope that this is a gift that I give to you today, that you can use this as a tool in your everyday world. So let's get started. So we're going to switch the camera to my demo camera here. Let's take a minute to focus and connect with our breath. So our breath gets us into a state of calmness. Collectively, all of us together, to just take a big inhale in and exhale. And then one more time, inhale, exhale. And any time during this drawing process, I invite you to bring your attention back to your breath as well. The breath adds another level of calming and easing to our bodies. And so what I'm going to do today, I'll be honest to say, I'm a little bit nervous. And when I'm nervous, I tend to move very fast. So I am going to use a quarter as a way to help me to slow down. And so I'm going to start making marks on the paper by pushing this quarter. And I am just going to let the quarter and my pen guide me. And I'm using a very thick Sharpie marker so that you can see what I'm doing. But I may want to use it, aesthetically, I might want to use a thinner one, or to use a pen or a colored pencil. And I'm just going to make a bunch of these lines and just let it be organic and flow. And you can use this without the quarter. You don't have to use a coin, but I wanted to demonstrate this. It's almost like a Ouija board. It has a mind of its own, and that's what it's all about. And so I'll do one more, and then I'll shift to the next process. So once you have your lines on the paper that you're happy with, and you say, I've got something to work with, then I invite you to draw some circles. And you can do it freehand and draw circles, or you can use your quarter or something else as a form. I personally like the organicness, and we'll go back to the thicker ones. And
Does it matter what size they are?
it does not matter what size they are, so you can alternate the sizes. You could make triangles or squares, whatever feels right for you. And once you're satisfied with that, you say, I'm not really sure, it looks like much. This is where it starts to get really into a state of flow and starts to transform. So anywhere where there's a junction, where you see that there's lines that come together and it forms this kind of hard edge, you want to create an arc and fill that in. And suddenly you have these soft lines, these soft corners. And this is where that state of Zen, that state of flow, this repetition of just coloring in these forms, working your way around your drawing. And so if you haven't started already, I invite you to get started and just allow your drawing to emerge. There is no right or wrong here. There is no, this is what it's supposed to look like. There's really no expectations of this other than allowing it to unfold exactly as it is. And I like to move my paper around. Here I wasn't satisfied with that mark, so I'm just going to make it a little thicker and clean it up a little bit. And as Cami said, if there's any questions that come up as you're drawing, please feel free to reach out and raise your hand. You can put it in the chat. I did a drawing not quite like this, but kind of similar to this concept a few years ago in China with a school in a very rural part of China. And when I told the schoolmaster that we would be doing this kind of circular drawing, he looked at me and it was almost filled with disgust of just, how could you do something that's so simple? And I just decided I had to not pay attention to that and just go on with my lesson as I had planned. And I had a room full of about 50 students from about second grade to eighth grade. And the whole room was abuzz with energy, and kids are fidgeting and doing different things. And as soon as they started drawing, there was a lull that fell over the whole room, and we were in silence for about 15 minutes while they did their drawings. And everyone got into a state of flow and Zen together. And it was good.
Can you move your paper up a bit? Sorry, it's just a little bit off screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks.
That's perfect right there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you telling me that. I did not know. And so it was just amazing to be a part of this group collective of everyone in flow and Zen. And that's where we're getting to today as well. That we're all doing this together. We're all in it together. And you can see now it's starting to look like something. It looks kind of interesting instead of, if you look over here, it doesn't have the same impact. becomes very organic. The process as well as the results. Okay. So I think I have all of my junctions softened. And then what I'm going to do is work with colored pencil and start to add color into the shapes. And as you're adding color, you know, again, you can just let it be very intuitive as to what feels good. You know, you don't have to worry about it being artistically right or following the rules. Just go with your instinct. And I'm using colored pencil, and I realize I picked a yellow and it's probably not coming through very well, so I'm pressing a little bit harder with my pencil so you can see it. And so that brings me to this aspect of colored pencils where the pressure that you use changes the results. So you can use a very light touch or a very heavy touch. And I kind of like to use a lighter touch and make the color darker by using many layers. And so that's a pretty, you know, that's a pretty dark, a heavy hand, as they say. Over here in the smaller spot, I'll use a lighter hand. I don't know if you can see that. And then one of the things that you can do with this drawing is to try to color in circles rather than straight lines. And that helps to blend the layers. And it gets darker without using that heavy hand. Go with a slightly darker color. See that a little better. But you can use watercolor, markers, inks, pens, anything, crayons. What I've been doing is I've been doing a 15-minute drawing each morning when I get up. And so I've been starting with smaller pieces of paper and so that I can finish it in that 15 minutes. And then I've done others where I've spent hours and just gotten lost in them. And you can shade, so you can have some lights and darks within each shape itself. So you can create some dimension if you want, some interest. You can combine colors. Cami, I get lost in time. How are we on time?
We're good. We have probably about 30 minutes or so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We have something in the chat. Please describe the process of creating arcs at junctions.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Please describe the process of creating arcs at junctions.
At junctions. And so the junctions are the areas where you have, here, I'll turn this over. So if you have your lines, and then you have this. Can you see that okay?
Yes, looks good.
Okay, and so the junctions would be this area right here. See where you have these spots where the lines cross and intersect? And so you want to come along and make an arc and then color that in. And then make an arc on each side of that cross. And what that does is it creates this kind of neuron, organic little, almost, it's not really an amoeba shape, but to me, it's kind of alive shape. And it just takes the drawing, the lines, and the lines become thicker and there's softer edges. And metaphorically, when you think about us having an edge in our life, how can we soften our edge? You know, or when somebody has a harshness to us, we want to know how they can be softer. And so we want to soften those edges, again, metaphorically, for ourselves and in this drawing. Can you see that okay?
Yep, that looks good.
So does that answer the question, or am I interpreting the question incorrectly?
I think it described it well. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
If I think George asked the question if you have any more additional stuff or if that answered your question. George said perfect, so good.
Oh, good. Okay. So that went from looking like nothing to this could actually be a cute little drawing. And what I like to do, but this is just me, is to come along and smooth. I sometimes tend to be sloppy, where I'll go to draw a line and all of a sudden it goes off like that. And so I'll just come along and make it into something else. And then that becomes another shape in the drawing. And I love how that unfolds. And then maybe I bring that out as well. And what I love about this is there's a simplicity to it that it just seems so simple, but yet it's so soothing, and they all come out just so pretty. You don't have to have any skill or any or even any confidence as an artist. If so many people are nervous about making art as we get older, and my one friend calls it her art scars. And she's so grateful to have my friendship because I've helped her to heal her art scars that she had from her childhood. Um, and so, but I think at times we've all gotten them somehow. And so this is something that's, to me, it's kind of non-threatening, you know. It's not sitting down and trying to draw a picture of my coffee cup or my dog or something that, you know, there's a little pressure around that. Um, and so you can just get lost in it. Would you agree, Christelle?
Yeah, I like the way that you begin and you don't really know what your end result is going to be, and it's just relaxing and fun.
Yeah. Well stated. Just allowing yourself to go with the flow. Literally, the state of flow.
Someone asked, what if they make a feathered fan at the junction? What do you mean? Is that something?
A feathered fan. So if I'm hearing that correctly, so like if you took something like this and then drew lines, kind of like that.
Is that what you mean, Margaret? Just go ahead and put that in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can take you off mute, whatever works.
Okay. So Margaret, can we take you off mute so we can better understand the question?
Let me go ahead and take her off mute. There you go, Margaret.
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I was talking about is instead of making the arc, which goes inward, you do like a little fan outward so that it's not even at
Oh,
the.
Convex rather than concave.
I can show you my picture, but.
yeah. Could we? Would that be
Yeah,
okay?
let me make her a panelist. Oh wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's lovely, Margaret. Oh,
Yeah, see, I didn't understand your arch. So I
yeah.
actually started doing the fan. And then I went like, oh, she wants it to go inward, but it was too late.
Got it. Okay.
So,
Well, I think
so
that's lovely. I love what you did, and I love that you have two different colors on each at each junction. So you have a dark and a light, is it?
yeah, pencil and felt tip.
Uh-huh. I love that.
And then was in the process of doing the, yeah. So that's why I just thought maybe there's other things you could do at the junction
Uh-huh.
that would be just as fun.
Sure. Well, you know, what we did is I got nervous about timing and the PowerPoint that we shared. So I didn't share the different examples that we had of images. And I thought, you know, intuitively, it felt like the right thing to do so that there would maybe be less inhibition and people would just, like you just played with it. And I think it came out really lovely. And so, what I can do is show you a couple of different examples of just like this, or we could go back to the PowerPoint. But I could just,
You can just show them there. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah.
so this is one that I did for the solstice. And so I made a solstice ritual for myself, and I spent some time centering on my breath and thought about, what I wanted to release and then what I wanted to bring in for the next 6 months during this time of solstice. And so what I wanted to bring in is a lightheartedness. I think I alluded to earlier that it's been a really stressful time for me, and I've been taking everything very seriously, and I feel like I need to lighten up. And so even using lighter colors as well. And I did this with pencil, just using a graphite pencil, and I pushed a key rather than a coin. And so the key has an imbalance to its own weight. And so there's a lot of squiggly lines that it created on the paper. And then I went ahead and colored, and I made these spiral shapes. And then I wrote the word lightheartedness in on these little straggly areas around it. So it will act as a reminder for me over the next 6 months to remember to be lighthearted. And so that's something that you could very easily do on your own and create a ritual around that. Um, oops. And then here's one where I just used the felt pen, and I I have more squiggly lines. I wasn't so worried about having perfect arcs in the corners. And then I went ahead and added just more linear or little dots. And so I let this be just more geometric. And then this one I used, rather than pushing a coin, I just drew jagged lines on the paper, like little lines like this. And then I turned the paper and went like this. And then started to color in the space around them. Again, using the arcs, filling in the corners. And then I added linear qualities as well.
We have a member at Ren that wants to share their drawing. So
Oh,
go
love that.
ahead and put yourself on camera, Ren. We'd love to see it.
Yes.
Are you guys able to see that?
Oh, look at that. That's wonderful.
It looks like a sea turtle. It's beautiful, or like a sea creature. It was really awesome.
Supposed to represent world peace.
World peace. Wow. Love that.
It's beautiful. And how did you feel drawing it?
Just creative and just a little creative, and also just free flowing.
Oh, good. Free flowing. I love that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else like to share?
I can share mine if you can see it, and then maybe anyone from Cheers or anyone else. Let me start my screen. I hope you can see it. Let's see. I don't know.
Look at you. That's wonderful.
I made it into a card. I was like, oh, I'm going to make a card out of it. I can give it to somebody.
Oh, I love that. Well done.
It's really easy.
Uh-huh.
And it looks really, I was like, how is this going to look pretty? But it does. So
It does. There's a moment when they're all really kind of ugly. And it's just like kind of lines, scribbles, and you think, what's going to happen here? And should I start over again? And all of a sudden, it just morphs into something really beautiful. So, yeah, yeah. And I love that
looks like we have some people at Cheers. I see them coming up to the screen. So feel free to turn yourself off mute and walk up so we can see it. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that.
That's really, you guys are doing beautiful work there. Oh,
Yes.
there's a woman holding hers up in the background, but we can't see it. Oh, that's wonderful. I love the lines on that.
There we go. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Amazing. Every drawing looks a little bit different, even though we're doing the same technique.
Uh-huh.
It's great.
It's really beautiful. And it's
Wonderful.
something that you can really get lost in and work on for a long time, or just spend short time periods with it, whatever your schedule permits. Right? What was it like for you guys? Did you have fun? Did you?
let's see what the chat said. And if anybody that is on attending the, oh, we have Cheers. So Cheers, if you want to unmute yourself, the other center, Cheers. I see a lady in a blue shirt. Then you guys will be shown up front. There we go. Okay, cool.
So Jerry would like to share hers, and let's hold it up to the camera. I'm going to hold it to the camera. All right. Ready? Hang on. Stay right there. Can you see hers?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Get a really nice one there. Okay, there. And we have a little more. Come on. Wave at everybody. Okay. Here's again. Would you like to share?
I love that.
Very good. Thank you. All right. One more. Oh, one more. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Get up there. Right there. There you go. Hold it, look in front. See? Oh. That's beautiful.
Oh, love that. Oh, you guys, you did beautiful work.
Now, if anybody, like I said, anybody that's attending via not at one of the viewing centers and you want to share what you guys have, feel free to raise your hand and we could put you on as a panelist and you can show us what work you've done. We'd love to see it. Oh, Ren has another person they want to share. So go ahead, Ren.
We have one. Sean wanted to just share a little bit about his finished piece now.
So basically, all the colors are like I mentioned earlier, it's about world peace. Because there's a lot of like fighting, a lot of wars going on, and like it's like all the colors represent the different nations. Like black, white, yellow, green. It doesn't matter what color you are. We're all people, and we shall have be at peace.
That is powerful. It's really beautiful.
And the circle represents the globe.
Very nice.
Someone made a comment that says that they sometimes just have to stop themselves so they don't get so overcritical, and this is kind of a good way. And then also, we went through a lot of personal medicine training throughout this week, and so this could be someone's personal medicine. So that's what someone commented. Maybe like you said, Tess, you get overwhelmed or you may be a little nervous, and it helps kind of calm you down, and it can be something that helps all of us kind of center ourselves for the day. So that's nice. Anyone else? People commenting, love the drawings, amazing. Do you want us to go ahead and do the poll now, the second one, and see how everyone's feeling?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I show mine really quickly?
Yeah.
It's kind of a work in progress, and I'm far from an artist, but it was definitely stress relieving. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Very
Very
no
nice.
reason to it. It was I'm a huge planner, and I have to do everything just meticulously. So I tried the whole using the quarter, and it was almost like that moment of like, just let it all go. Don't think too much into it and go with it. So I like it.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, I just want to reiterate, Christelle just brought up a good point that the gal that just shared hers said was that she's a planner and you just can't plan this. And that's such a powerful part of this style of making art is you can't plan it. And in life, there's that expression, man plans and God laughs, whatever plans we think we have in life always get changed. And this is a great metaphor for that, but it allows us to just ease into that. There's so many layers to this.
A different part of the brain starts working.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I sent you guys an excerpt from a book that I worked on and co-authored called Open Me Up, and there's maybe a half a dozen art exercises that you can download and do on your own. And I think you would find it enjoyable to do some of them. And they all have the same kind of ease that this exercise had, but they're different. And so I hope you take advantage of that and download them. And Camilla can tell us later how to do
Yes,
that.
we're gonna provide the link for everyone to get the different handouts from all the sessions. As well as Dorothy, the survey link will be provided as well once we're wrapping up this session.
Sure. Okay, wonderful. And
Okay, this poll is coming in now.
How are you feeling right now on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 is the worst and 5 is the best.
Yep, right now we're currently, so last time we had 32% at 4, now we're at 50% for 4, 31% at 5. So it's definitely higher than it was. It was a little bit more of an even distribution when we started.
And 0% at 1. Awesome.
yeah, that's wonderful, you guys.
And we did have a lot of people say that in the chat they felt more calm. They felt like this was a good thing that they're going to maybe use with individuals they work with to help them kind of calm and find that Zen space. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's so funny when I made that video to share with you guys, and my husband edited it for me, and we put some music to it and so forth, and we did the final watching of it, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm so calm just watching this video." So, so there's that piece too. But boy, I just love this process of making art. I call it a stress buster for myself.
Yes, I think that I found art during COVID. So I've always been kind of an artist, but I always felt like scared of it, you know? And I think, like you said, your friend has like this art trauma where I never felt I was ever quite good enough at doing art, but I always loved it. So I was like, you know what? Nothing else to do. So I bought some art supplies and I just started doing stuff. So I found that I really like painting flowers and using watercolor. That's like my, and then I do digital art. So I like to do stuff on the like an iPad and turn my paintings into digital art.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good for you, Cami. It's so interesting with COVID. I filled my life. I kept myself very busy and had very little art making time. And there's so many artists that um, they said that they avoided going into their studio, that their emotions were too raw, and um, and that was the time. That was the perfect time to be making art because it's calming. It's all of this, and yet we were afraid of that for whatever reasons. So good for you that you found your way into art.
Someone just asked for the poll results. Maybe results. Do you want to maybe go over the comparison before and after?
Yeah.
Yep, let me try to get that for you guys. I'm just going to try to see our previous questions. So I'm going to deactivate this poll. So the first one, we had 32 votes. Oh, but Cami, when we opened it up again, it did change. So like the
Christelle
fours
kept
and
track of the
fives.
information. Christelle kept
Oh,
track
do
of
you
it.
have the beginning one?
Yeah,
Oh.
I wrote it down. So the first poll we had at 1 being the worst, we had 3 people. And 5 being the best, we had 12 people. And then in the second poll, 1 being the worst, we had 0. And 5 being the best, we had 38. So that's quite a big jump from 12 to 38. There's also, let's see, I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but overall, the results are that there was a big improvement in the way people felt after this activity.
That's wonderful.
And it looks like we did put the link to the download, correct, Isha? I think that's in the chat, or it will be going in there. And do you want to explain a little bit what that is, Tess, and how someone could use that that like sample workbook?
Sure. And so what I did is, so I mentioned earlier that myself, my husband, and 2 of our colleagues, one is a professor, Dr. Karen Sada, professor of psychology, and Dr. Lisa Wayman, who is she's actually the chief of nursing education at the Phoenix VA. And so the 4 of us got together during COVID. So this was our art project, is we looked at all the different art prompts that we have used over the years in the different classes that we've had, not only for people surviving suicide loss or attempt, but we also work with veterans. I've worked with non-English speaking adult refugees. I've worked with Native American elders, and then the children in rural villages in China, and young women who've been sexually trafficked. So I've had this variety of people that I've worked with, and we've had all these different art programs and prompts. And so we pulled out the ones that we thought were quote unquote the best, ones that like this that help you get into that state of Zen. And we looked at ones that were either visual, so draw this, or things that might have been about writing, and so, or experiencing in some way. So it's not just drawing in this book. And so there are exercises that help you to kind of get out of rumination, anxiety, stress, and to just have fun making art. And so I don't remember which ones I put into the PowerPoint or into the download, so I'm sorry. But there's exercises like draw yourself as a superhero. And I did it, and I drew myself, my dog, and one of my chickens, and we all had on capes, and we were in our superhero poses, and it was just funny, you know. It wasn't realism, you know, um, by any stretch, but it was just a fun exercise to do. And there's ones about observing what you see, or repeating shapes, or doing a mandala, and things like that. And so just a way for people to say, I want to make art, but I don't know what to do. Here's a way to get you started. That's really what it comes down to.
That's amazing. Yeah, I went through it and worked on some of the pages. I thought they were really cool. So thank you for
Good.
sharing that.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm so glad you did that.
So I think we answered everyone's questions in the chat. Does anyone else want to share or?
I wanted to say that art was very helpful for me. Because I used to do really self-destructive behavior. I used to go running at night and scare my husband. And so this is a way of form of art for me to express my feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that.
Sujata, go ahead. You're off mute.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I had a question to our panelists. I was just wondering, somebody had mentioned that they wrote a book with like art exercises. So I was wondering what the name of the book might be.
Oh, sure. The name of the book is called Open Me Up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And you have the full book on your website, right?
Yes, it's on the Arizona Art Alliance website.
Okay, I did put the link to that in the chat earlier. I'll go ahead and put it again. And I believe it is under Open Me Up book. I'll put the exact link to that right now.
Thanks.
We did give you some sample pages, and then if you want to purchase the full book, it's on there, the link to that. So definitely try that out. And I think that's it, folks. Thank you so much, Tess and Christelle, for your wonderful art presentation. And I feel very calm. And I think a lot of people, like they said in the chat, it just seems, you know, maybe we may doubt ourselves and don't think we're artists, but this is an easy way to kind of get in that place to feel creative. And thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you so much for everyone attending. And I want to thank you for all of you, everyone. I don't know if Laura, if you want to say anything as our final end here.
Thank you guys so much. I enjoyed seeing you all during this conference, and I know it's a little bit different being virtual, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us, and I hope you really enjoyed this conference, and I look forward to it every year, and I hope to see you guys all back next year with some additional friends and family as well. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor for me to be here today.